If you're feeling stuck or behind when it comes to your finances, there's a very good chance that one of these 5 mistakes is holding you back. In this video, I'm going to be talking about super common mistakes that beginners make and how you can avoid them. So with that, let's jump right in. Mistake number 1 is falling prey to the buy now, pay later trap. So the buy now, pay later trap usually goes something like this. Somebody's out shopping and they see a $1,200 TV that they really want, but they can't really afford outright right now. But at checkout, they see an option that says that you can have this TV for just 12 payments of $100, 0% interest. And they think, well, $100 isn't really that much. I think I can make that work. But here's what gets missed. When you're only focusing on the payments, you lose sight of the total cost. You're not asking, can I actually afford this? You're asking, can I fit this payment into my cash flow right now? Which, believe it or not, is actually a very big difference. Sure, it might fit into your budget this month, but what happens next month when there's that unexpected expense? Or when you're juggling 4 or 5 of these small payments all at once? And that's where people get tripped up. What once started as just a $100 payment turned into something that's much more difficult to manage. And let's not forget if you miss a payment. If you miss a payment, you can get hit with things like fees, penalties, or even a credit hit depending on your provider. So how do you avoid this trap? Ask yourself questions like, can I afford this without financing it? Is this something that I need, or am I just justifying it? Or how long will this actually take me to pay off realistically? This simple pause can help you save years of frustration and unnecessary financial pressure. And remember, the real win isn't just about getting what you want whenever you want. It's about building a future where you're not consistently stressed about money. Mistake number 2 is falling into the credit card trap. Credit cards can be incredibly useful when used responsibly, but for beginners, it can often turn into a really, really tough trap. And one of the biggest traps and common traps that beginners fall into is carrying a balance and only making minimum payments month to month. That's how people end up spending much more on items than they originally thought they were going to spend. And this is actually much more common than you might even realize. According to Bankrate, as of June 2025, 46% of American credit card holders carry a balance. That's nearly half of credit card holders who are paying interest every single month. And what's crazy is that at first, it might not even really seem like debt because you're making payments and it still feels manageable. Till it isn't. One swipe turns into 10, one balance turns into multiple, and next thing you know, you're spending hundreds of dollars a month just on payments and interest alone. So to avoid this trap, avoid using credit cards as a backup plan or as an emergency fund, but use it like you would a debit card, only spending the money that you have and paying it off in full right away. And if you already have a balance, don't panic, but make a plan. Stop adding new charges until your debt is under control and you're confident that you can start using it like you would a debit card. And also, pay more than just the minimum, even if it's a small amount extra per month. And remember, credit cards in and of themselves are not evil, but they are powerful. And just like anything that is powerful, it has the potential to do a lot of harm if you're not careful. And mistake number 3 is not tracking your spending or not having a budget. Have you ever looked at your account and wondered, where did all of the money go? If you have, you're not alone. One of the most common money mistakes that beginners make is not having a budget. And right alongside of that is not tracking their expenses. And here's why that's a big problem. Without a budget, you don't have a clear plan of where your money should be going. And without tracking your expenses, you don't have a clear picture of where your money went. This can lead to overspending, missed goals, and the consistent feeling of I make enough, but I never seem to have enough. So the way to avoid this trap is to start tracking your expenses, even if it's messy. You can use an app, a spreadsheet, pen and paper, whatever it is for you that you feel like will help you build the habit of tracking your expenses. Also, create a simple budget that reflects your values and your priorities. Don't think of it as some restriction, but think of it as a roadmap and a path to having financial freedom. Also, build in a routine of reviewing your numbers, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. Just make sure you're setting a regular routine of looking through your finances. When you track what's happening and you create a clear plan for what's next, you can start moving forward with clarity as opposed to walking in ambiguity. And on to mistake number 4, and that's not having an emergency fund. Car repairs, medical bills, a sudden job loss. One thing that we can all agree on is that life doesn't always give you a warning. If you don't have some kind of buffer, those surprises can wipe out all the progress that you've made, or worse, send you directly into debt. That's why not having an emergency fund is one of the most dangerous mistakes that beginners can make. An emergency fund gives you breathing room and gives you options when life hits you with the unexpected. So the way to avoid this trap is to start by setting aside $500 to $1,000, just enough to give you a little bit of breathing room. And once you've accomplished this, move on to saving up for 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. It doesn't have to be built overnight, but the key is consistency and prioritization, putting aside little by little until your safety net grows. And mistake number 5 is lifestyle creep and keeping up with the Joneses. A really easy way to stay stuck financially or to regress is to continuously upgrade your lifestyle as your income increases. This is called lifestyle creep and often looks something like this. You get a raise, and next thing you know, you're suddenly buying nicer clothes, you're looking into moving into a nicer home or a nicer apartment, going on more extravagant trips, and so on. And on the surface, this might look like success. You think, I'm making more, so I should have the ability to spend more, right? But here's the thing, if your spending increases at the same or greater level as your income each time, you're not actually building wealth. What you're doing is you're just increasing your spending level. And even worse, a lot of times people aren't even doing these things for their own enjoyment. They're doing these things out of comparison and because they see other people who are doing it and they want to prove to their friends and family that they're successful and happy. But a big problem with this is that everybody's situation is different. And what people really never post on social media is the debt or the unhappiness that they might be experiencing behind the scenes because of the lifestyle that they're trying to upkeep. So the way to avoid this trap is that when your income increases, look for ways that you can increase or automate your transfers for your savings and for your investments. Also, look for other ways that you can be more generous and give to those who are in need. And remember, just because you can spend the money does not mean that you should. It's extremely tempting, but don't allow media to cause you to buy things or spend money on things that simply don't align with your goals and your values. All in all, managing money isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional and avoiding traps that can trip you up along the way. So if you've made some or all of these mistakes, it's okay. And really, you're not alone. But the big thing is that you should learn from it and you should grow from it and make the right decision going forward. And if you're interested in uncovering $200 or more in your day-to-day spending, feel free to check out the link in the description below, where I'll be giving you guys a guide where you can learn about tools and tips of how you can do just that. If this video helped you, make sure to hit the like button as it does support the channel. Subscribe if you're brand new or you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.